All right, beautiful people, welcome to the Brand Identity Design podcast. I'm your host, Jason, and I'm really thrilled to kick off season 5 today with a special interview featuring the one and only Jose Ucar. Is a very old friend of mine. I met him through another friend, and we are being close buddies ever since. I love this individual to death because he's a hardworking person. I have seen him grow, and I have seen him do beautiful things, not only for himself, his family, but for the people he love and for the people who admire and work with him. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, who are listening into this conversation. We are live on LinkedIn. So just in case if you guys are new, I just wanted to give you a heads up. I do these seasons on LinkedIn audio at this moment of time. Sometimes I also do video based on demand. And we are going to be doing this season 5, for the next 6 months at a stretch. I'm planning to cover around 24 episodes. I have a long list of very, very interesting individuals who I have lined up for this season. You'll be blown away with the content which we would be tapping into, the ideas, methodologies, strategies. Everything is going to be interesting. Everything is going to be fun. I am also very excited to let you guys know that my podcast, based on the recent analytics which I received at the end of this year, I think we have reached around 33 countries at this moment of time. The most recent edition were Egypt and Portugal. I still continue to hold the top 30% on Spotify's most followed business podcast. And on social media, I still keep trending on the top 5%. I'm very, very happy and fortunate that I was able to achieve not only the Anchor Spotlight Awards by Spotify, and I was able to achieve all of this, produce 8,000 minutes of audio content, 120 episodes recorded, just sitting in a modest 150 square foot hall in Mumbai. It's hot as shit, okay, and there are mosquitoes around, and I have to work all through the night to make this happen. But all those things make sense when I see people enjoying and getting value from these conversations. So I want to thank all my listeners to make this happen, to give me the encouragement, the motivation I need to follow what I'm trying to do with podcasting. So sit back, relax, guys. Get ready to laugh and learn. We're gonna have a very nice conversation related to entrepreneurship. So another few announcements which I want to make before we get into the interview. I would be dropping all sorts of content, exclusive content about podcasting, and I'm trying to keep it free, inclusive, accessible for people. So if you are on LinkedIn and if you're not following me, please click on my profile and do follow me so that you get regular updates, and all these articles and content will be related to podcasting. If that is something which you're interested in, please do follow me. If you like to receive email alerts about the season 5 upcoming episodes, DM me your email address and I should be able to sign you up to my newsletter. It's like an alert I dispatch out with content related to podcasting and the upcoming episodes. I've also applied to be nominated for ISA 2024 Podcast Awards, one of the biggest in India. And I am very confident that I should be able to make some mark. If not, nothing like it, I'll try again. But wish me luck, guys. I think the results are expected to come out in February, which is next month. Now let's not waste time. Let's actually get into our show. First of all, Jose, welcome to the podcast. If you don't know who Jose is, he's a keynote speaker, and currently at this moment of time, he's an international communication and influence expert. And he embarked on his journey at 16 in Sweden. He specializes in fostering strong international relationships for business leaders, enabling impactful cross-cultural communication. He has been featured on Yahoo Finance, Yahoo News. He's also a TEDx speaker, also a professional speaker, author of the book Global Influence. And so if you looked at the title, today's title, it has a word Global Influence. It's actually a book which Jose has authored. If you're interested in actually buying the book and supporting Jose, I have actually listed all the links under the event comments. So if you click on the three dots, if you're on LinkedIn, you should be able to find links to all of those books, links to all those links so that you can procure this book. If not, you can DM me or Jose and we should be able to help you with it. Not only that, Jose's client include Procter and Gamble, Seat, Cupra, DAF Trucks, Amazon, Excel, London, and Chisi Pharmaceuticals. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Jose has worked with quite a number of organizations, both big and small, impacting and improving businesses through this revolutionary communication. He's also fluent in English and Spanish, and his unique perspective on driving global success. So I want to take a moment and just applaud Jose and thank you so much for being here. Let's make some noise, people. Let's have some virtual noise. Jose, welcome to the podcast once again. Thank you so much for being here.
Jason, amazing to be here again, brother. Hello, lovely people down in the audience. Brother, I'm excited. Happy New Year, everybody. Wow, it is 2024 already. There we go. Ready to get started.
Absolutely, absolutely. 2024 is here, and I'm so glad that we are doing this. So, just in case, guys, if you don't know who Jose, about the episode I was referring to, so Jose was featured on, I think, on season 3, and he spoke about how not to be vanilla. I think the episode name was Be Less Vanilla. He spoke about his childhood in Venezuela, if I remember it. He spoke about, how to have focus on serving others, how to get curious. And he also spoke about, try not to be vanilla, be orange, or maybe be chocolate chips, or maybe some other flavor, but try not to be vanilla. At the core of everything, I think this whole vanilla thing, which he keeps speaking about, it also applies here in this book because we were speaking just a while back before going live. So I'm really excited. I thank you for that wonderful episode which we did, Jose. My first question to you is that I want to know, because a lot of people write books, okay? What is that thing? What is that something that happened out of you writing this book, which happened but you did not expect it to do? So, what is something that your book did which you didn't expect it to do? Now, this is a borrowed question. I found this online on Instagram. I found the question very interesting, and I thought I have to ask Jose this question to see how my guest responds to it.
Whoa. Well, it is early days. Just to explain to the audience, the book was only published on the 15th of December. Okay. And before I published the book, as I was working with the publisher, with Rethink Press, one of the things they said and they spoke about was this book magic, the book magic, which is actually about this thing that you just mentioned, the things that will happen because of writing a book. And at this point, not even a month in, actually 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a couple of days, I have to say, Jason, that it's been amazing because the most important thing that's happened is that the book has brought my family and friends together. And being Venezuelan and people having left the country throughout the years, the opportunity to reconnect with them, especially, well, as I said, friends and family, and especially friends that I hadn't seen in years, it is a very warming feeling to get pictures. They reach out to me on social media, they find me on WhatsApp, and they send me pictures. Jose, look, I purchased your book. Congratulations, buddy. People, friends from high school that I hadn't seen in over 20 years. That is one of those things that I'm super grateful for. And it's happened because of the book. Another thing is that I never thought I would achieve this bestseller on Amazon. So I reached the bestseller on a couple of countries, the UK and Australia as well, which I would have never thought would be possible. So there you go. That's a couple of things in terms of the book. But hey, global influence is about creating positive change. And it's already creating positive change in my circle. And as I said, bringing family and friends together. That's the most important thing. And it's been fantastic so far.
Congratulations on that, Jose. Wow, bestseller. And And you know the lovely part is that you said that you were able to get your family and friends together through this book, and people reached out to who were that old. That is phenomenal. Who would have expected that to happen about from you writing a book? You know, that is absolutely amazing. Now, you said also something previously offline, you know, before we went live. You also said that this book took you around 15 to 20 years in the making. What took you so long to end up writing it? What made it like why were you slow? I want to know that why you couldn't write this early. What made you take so much time?
Well, Jason, I need to correct you on the time because it took me 42 years to be precise, and that's my age. That's the time it's taken me to write this book. And look, I will start by saying, because there is this saying that goes around that we all have a book in ourselves, or several of them. But then what I realized is that it takes time for that book we have within us to materialize, to organize our ideas, to make it worthwhile and yeah, of value to our readers or to my readers or to the people that are going to be publishing books hopefully in the future. And I finally decided to write it beginning of last year. So in reality, it only took me 1 year to put it into writing, and it was an intense process. And I will do it again, but definitely not any soon. I need a break. But then for me to get to that point in which I said, yes, I'm going to do it, of course, it took me, at least as you well said, 15 years throughout my experiences, life, business, and everything else in order to have the stories and to have the knowledge, the expertise, and the confidence to go and vulnerably share my story. Because global influence is inspired, big part of it is inspired on my business and life journey.
Oh, isn't that amazing? 42 years. And I like what you said that, you know, it takes time to materialize things. It also, you said something or that you said something like we all have a book in ourselves and it does take time to materialize. It may have taken you around 42 years to build it, but it took you an year just to fulfill and complete it. So that is absolutely stunning, Jose. I want to actually address something which typically, when you do podcasts, especially about a book an author is written, people get into the nitty gritties of the book. I actually want to focus on something else. I want to actually focus on the dedication section. I recently purchased a copy of the book, and in your book, you express a lot of gratitude for your family members, your papa, mama, grandparents, and you know how they have positively impacted your life. But you also highlight something about your brother. Your brother's name is German Ucar, and I am really interested in knowing more about specific moments or aspect in your journey where your brother played a pivotal role in shaping your career or influencing you in your perspectives or even writing this book, because I have seen German Ukar back in the shadows, like he's always there. He likes your stuff. I have never seen him online. I have never seen him posting anything. He just exists there. So who is your brother, first of all? How he has shaped your life? And I'm really interested in knowing this.
Whoa, Jason. I mean, people in the audience, are you ready for some tears? Because, I mean, this can take me on a roller coaster of emotions right now. Look, my brother, well, I'll tell you a brief story. I wanted a brother since I knew I had a conscience. And it took my parents a little bit. So eventually it came as a gift. And as I like to say, it's a gift from baby Jesus, because that's whom I was asking for a brother back in Venezuela when I think I started asking for a brother when I was 4. And my brother finally came when I was almost 8 years old. So it did take baby Jesus a little bit of time. And he taught me how to be a brother. Most importantly, and especially in the recent years, he's taught me how to become a better human being. My brother Herman is, as I like to call him, okay, let me try not to get too emotional, but I call him my silent hero. Because as you said, Jason, he's quiet. He doesn't go around. shouting out about himself, and he's not as vocal as I am. I guess I'm the speaker, but he's the guy with the knowledge, really. And he's responsible. I mean, he's silent, but then he's responsible for all of my videos. He's the one that helped me put together the world class communicator during the pandemic, which is, as you know, and just to clarify for the audience, it's an online course that I put together to support people throughout the pandemic to improve their communication and their mindset. All of the videos were created by my brother. Another thing that I want to say, and one thing that I've learned from him, and when I say especially in the recent years, is because our relationship has evolved, and I believe, and I like to believe that we're closer. And one thing he's taught me very recently is how much he cares for other people, how important it is to care for other people, and how, by deeply and genuinely caring for other people, you can grow a business, which is an interesting paradigm because when it comes to marketing, it's all about promoting yourself and being less vanilla and who shouts the loudest and standing out. Well, my brother has been step by step throughout the years exponentially growing and developing his business, and his secret recipe is deeply caring for his customers. He's authentic in that sense, and no one can take that away from him. If you reach out to any of his clients, they all gonna say he's an incredible guy. That would be my piece on my brother Herman. Jason, if you want me to expand, you let me know.
Yeah,
But he's my
absolutely.
silent hero.
I'm really glad. Please expand. I really am interested in knowing more. Tell us that story. Go expand on that. Give us more insight. Tell me what all things which he do for this book. Let's hear on that. How has he helped in helping you to finish this book?
Well, I would say he didn't help me finishing the book. This this I mean, it's been writing the book, it's interesting. It's been a bit of a lonely journey writing the book itself. But then the inspiration I gathered from everyone throughout the years has been amazing. So I wouldn't have done it without any of them. But then, as I said, my brother being this silent hero is the person I can turn to anytime. I pick up the phone, I call him, and he's there for me. I'm feeling down, and he's there for me. When he's feeling down, I'm there for him. So it's having that person that is just always there and is always caring. And if I need anything, I know I can reach out to her man, and he will help me. So I don't know what kind of additional information I can add to it in terms of the
No, that
book.
I think that is
Uh,
super cool.
I would say it's that support and the inspiration. If I link it to global influence and creating a positive impact on people across nations, well, deeply caring for other people is one of the foundations. Deeply and genuinely caring for others. That's one of the foundations of global influence. So thank you very much for that question, Jason, because now I can improve or add to the dedication.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now let's deep dive into the book actually, okay? So I want to first of all understand, Jose, what is the gap in business literature you were aiming to fill with your book?
Well, the gap it is still a leadership book, but then it is written by a Spanish speaking, okay, so a foreigner, if you like, as I like to call myself, a legal alien living in the UK. So writing in English to support leaders worldwide. So I haven't seen many books that specifically address the communication. There are the multicultural angles to it, but this is about influencing people across nations. So it's about influence without borders. It's about creating just the one world we all live in. So it's, getting rid of walls and the walls that we carry in our mind, so that we all go out there interacting with other human beings with the only intention of creating positive impact. So I haven't seen many books on that. That's the gap I was looking to fulfill. And if there are books out there doing it, I also wanted to add my penny's worth, if you like, in terms of helping others improve, lead more effectively, and bridge gaps across nations. I believe, diversity adds so much value to our lives, and I've experienced it throughout the years, that I want to keep on encouraging it. So that's where I was going with the book.
That is incredible. I remember in the beginning of our discussion offline, you did mention the book is about getting people to change behavior and to improve on communication. Would you mind expanding on that? What do you mean getting people to change behavior? What kind of behavior are you trying to change? And how would
Yes.
that improve on the communication? Please expand on that.
Well, the whole premise of global influence is about positive change across nations. And that's why I decided to call it influence, because when you influence people, you are not making anyone do something, but you are showing them different ways and different angles in terms of how they could be communicating. So I've been training leaders for a while at different levels. And what I've been finding is that they all could do better if they had additional skills when it comes to communicating. And when it comes to communicating across nations, and this is why I created one of the models in the book, which is the simpler method, which is all about simplifying things. Because again, going back to some of the premises, I mean, you're making me go deeper and actually thinking about the book in detail, Jason. Thank you very much. This is a good opportunity to re-explore. I
Okay.
like to say that, it takes, well, it can take years to completely understand a culture and learn a language. But then when it comes to the global influence, again, another premise is, but it can only take seconds to develop a deep human connection. And now, as I'm saying this is leading to another person who inspired the book, who is Alan Pierce, who was my manager and leader for many years, and now he's a good friend of mine. And he had this innate ability of creating connection with other human beings and positively influencing them. So I guess what I've been trying to do with the whole book is just to take the best from all of my experiences and turn them into easy to apply frameworks and stories that inspire.
That is super cool. I'm glad, there are a lot of people who inspired you to do this. A lot of people are actually contributing to, this whole book and the composition of the book overall. So thank you so much for that answer. My next question to you is that I like to delve into the intersection of personal growth and professional leadership development within the context of your book. How, in your experience, does these two aspects align, and how has global influence played a role in shaping both your personal and professional journey?
Well, I'm going to reconnect this to the story I started about Alan, because when it comes, you said personal, you're asking me about personal growth and professional, yeah, leadership development. And as I like to say, I'm here today speaking to you, Jason, and the lovely audience. I'm here today because of the people in my life. But more specifically, I'm here today because of an amazing leader. And as I mentioned before, his name is Alan Pierce. And that's what I'm after with global influence, because as I said, some of the traits and behaviors of Alan empower me throughout my journey. So, this leadership angle. I mean, the thing is, I'm trying just to, make this concise, because, all of the pages and everything in the book is coming to mind. And okay, how do I filter this through to make it relevant to all of you listeners
Simplify
right
it,
now?
Jose. As you said, simplify.
Yeah, simplifying is key.
Yeah, you don't have to get into the details. Just simplify like a version of what you think. Okay, and if you're not able to relate it with your personal professional journey, how do you think people who would be reading it, how would those things, two aspects would align?
Look,
Personal growth and professional leadership development.
yeah, I mean, what personal growth, if you invest in your personal growth, you can become a better leader. If you invest in your leadership, you can also become a better person, and it will impact your personal growth. They all go hand in hand. But the thing about leadership, global influence, and everything, I need to relate it back to Alan. And I mean, I'll tell the story, and I think this will illustrate it in the way I want it. I was back then living in Spain. That's 2007, and I was working for an organization organizing a a big event, an international event in the city of San Sebastian. And I was going to be traveling from San Sebastian to Bilbao, which is about an hour's journey. And I jumped on the bus. And here is where this whole leadership, personal growth, global influence kicks in. Alan sat next to me, and listen carefully, people. In less than an hour, this gentleman from the UK with a Cockney accent that I barely understood, and with my Venezuelan accent, which I still have, but my English wasn't as good as it is today, he managed to get to know me, to understand my motivations, some of my goals that I even didn't even know back then, and to persuade me to come and work for him in the UK. In less than an hour, people, he managed to do that. That was in July back in 2007. In September that year, I was in the UK working for Alan. Actually, the month before, in August, I was visiting the UK for the first time in my life to have an interview with him. So that's the beauty of leadership. And that's how it can impact personal growth. And that's why I want to encourage this, because I want more people impacting others across nations in the same way Alan impacted my life.
That is beautiful. I'm so glad that you finally got the opportunity to. I mean, you never intended to get that opportunity, it just randomly
No.
happened, right? So that is really beautiful. Now, did you ever expected that, that one meetup or that bus ride which you were referring to would have ended you becoming the person you have become at this moment of time? Did you ever thought Jose Ucar, the international communication and influence speaker, that is magic,
Um,
right?
that is magic, brother. Yes, that is definitely the magic of global influence. I have to say, since I was a little boy, a young boy, I remember having conversations with my mom about wanting to be international. So it's always been part of who I am. And I guess it's also important to put yourself out there and engage with people, because I was very open having a conversation with Alan. But regardless, I mean, the way in which he communicated with me and influenced me changed my life. And that's a very powerful message that goes throughout what I do and the book, of course, which is about creating this positive change. And look at it. I mean, a guy from the UK creating change in the life of a Venezuelan immigrant living in Spain back then.
People who are actually listening to this, Jose, just to make it a little more relatable and just to give people some context, what is that people can do in their personal life according to you, which they can look for, like these signs, like the one which you had? How can they look for these signs, or what is that they should do according to you?
What kind of science? What about specifically? In what context?
The way how you had like a, I think it would be more of like, do you think people should have more openness in terms of conversing with one another or people around us or the environment around us? Do you think that really helps and influences you to have a pivotal moment in your life, like the one which you had with Alan Pierce? Do you think people should engage even if they are random people or strangers nearby with you while you're traveling, commuting? You should have a much more open mind and not very closed off. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, all the way, all the way. And that's one of the things that we don't do often enough. And I don't mean being open every single time, because on occasions we're tired, but definitely making an effort, because you never know, when you're going to be connecting with that person that can change your life, or the opposite, you changing their lives. And don't even make it about creating great change, but hey, positively impacting people. So openness is key. There is also something that I speak with in the book And again, I connected the book and some of my stories, and I brought in my granddad, my abuelo, and some of the things he used to do really, really well, and people loved him for it, was his ability to openly communicate with anybody, anybody. And I definitely took that away and I'm using it. So what I do every time I feel like, oh, I want to be shy. I don't want to make eye contact with people and have a quick conversation or say hello or good morning. I'm always, pushing myself, hey, there could be an opportunity here. And I like to believe that I'm making a positive impact every time I engage with a person and I leave them better off. So it's kind of a bit of a purpose that I have or an intention that I have daily. And it also, fuels me, really fuels my day to day.
That is
So
fabulous.
being open, absolutely. Yeah, be open.
Absolutely, guys. If you're listening, I hope that makes sense. I wanted to give a shout out to my good friend Leslie, who you see down in the audience. Lachelle Atkins, America's Super Mom, thank you so much for being here. I also see Derek, Angelica, Brian. Thank you so much, guys. And everyone else who's listening to our conversation. Thank you so much for your love and support. It means a lot. I'm not really looking for a big crowd. Good people around. Good people can make a lot of difference. Even if it's small, it really makes a lot of difference because we know that we are here to support and love one another. And that's all what matters. So thank you guys for being here. So my next question is about some of the strategic part in your book, and you speak in depth about helping leaders navigate the cultural diversity within their teams across international market. Would you mind expanding on that?
Wow. Okay. That's a very open question. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to speak about one of the key areas because, as I mentioned before, I think at the beginning of the conversation, I said that one of the things I wanted to do was to help leaders simplify their communication across nations. So I developed something that I call the Simpler Framework. And it is an acronym, and each one of the letters mean the following, which is one of the foundations, I would also say, on the book. And the S stands for slowing down. Okay, that's one of the main things I always encourage people to do when it comes to leading and when it comes to communicating on a day to day, especially across nations. Slow down. And this is not just about slowing down your speaking, your communication, it is about slowing down your thinking as well. Taking a moment to enjoy the connection that can emerge with that person. Slow down is the first one. Then the I stands for the intention. Being intentional in your communication, linking it back to what I said before, having that intention of leaving people better off after every interaction is my intention. So, what do you want your intention to be when it comes to your communication, when it comes to your leadership? Then the M, of course, when it comes to international environments, having a multicultural lens. And when I say multicultural lens, it's about flexibility. Who do I have in front of me? Okay? Because as I said, understanding a culture, learning a language can take years, but creating a powerful connection can take seconds, just like my example with Alan. So that multicultural lens, which is about curiosity, as I said before, who is in front of me? Where is this person from? What can I learn? What are the differences? What are the similarities? Let's connect kind of internal dialogue, linking it back to intention. Then that's the M. Then the P of the simpler model is everything to do with preconceptions. We all have preconceptions. Since the moment we were brought up, that's what we do. I mean, we're learning, we have experiences, then we form our beliefs, our values, and all of them filter our reality. And then we create preconceptions about interactions, about situations, about people, about nationalities, about accents. So again, this one is about being mindful of the preconceptions we're bringing to our interactions to add flexibility, to take them out, okay, move them out, and in order to enable a good connection with a human being, an authentic connection, a more transparent connection. Then that's the P. Then the L, it's all about the language. And The book is written in English, and when it comes to business, English is the most spoken language. So it's about being mindful of the level of English of that person you're communicating with. I will never forget back in 2007 when I lived in the UK, when I started working in the UK, and I left the first meeting I went to without understanding a thing. And yes, it was also my responsibility, but also the responsibility of the people that were communicating with me. They didn't pay attention or spot the signs that I wasn't getting any of it. Nowadays, I would of course say, "Hey, I'm not getting some of that information," but back then I didn't. So the language is very important, especially if you're leading people. For you as a leader, then this one, Thomas, Jason, I call you Thomas by your surname. Energetic engagement. That's the E of the simpler model. Energetic engagement, which is linking it to that openness, being excited about meeting someone new, being excited about meeting someone you already know, being excited about meeting you today. Hold on a second. LinkedIn would like to find and connect devices. Okay, hold on a second. I
Yeah,
just had a
we
message
can.
here on
I
my
can still
LinkedIn.
hear you. Yeah, I can hear you though.
Okay, perfect. I was just getting rid of that one. And that's the energetic engagement. And then finally, always in every human interaction, in every communication process, always have a review process at the end, a self reflection opportunity in order to see, did that communication, did that engagement, did that situation went according to plan as I expected it? Did it not? What can I learn about it? So the simpler framework, slowing down, being intentional, multicultural lens, preconceptions, language, energetic engagement, and review, I would say summarizes a big part of the essence of the book, my friend. And I hope that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. I've written it down and it makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you recapping the whole acronym. You know, when I hear people who have frameworks and acronym, the first person which pops into my mind is Lachelle Atkins, whom you see down in the audience, because I have always heard a lot of acronyms, from her whenever we used to have, these clubhouse discussions. She had an acronym for each and everything on earth. And that was phenomenal. And when you said something about slowing down, the first person who actually came into my mind is Leslie Dowling, because we keep having these conversations on WhatsApp and I keep telling her, we should slow down, take your time, do what you're supposed to do. So it makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense, Jose. I'm really digging this conversation, and I hope our listeners are also digging this conversation. I think contextually it is impossible to cover the whole book in one brief episode. I think we want to be respectful to the author. We want to also appreciate and applaud him for the creative work of writing this in the first place. If you do get the opportunity, I would highly encourage you to at least get an ebook, if not the physical copy. However, you can support the author, I would greatly appreciate it. I want to get into my next question is about tips or exercises which you have outlined in the book, some practical exercises or tips which can help individuals to overcome communication fear in a diverse cultural setting. What would you suggest?
Ooh, Jason. Well, first of all, every chapter of the book has got a self reflection section and then actions. Okay, so every time you finish reading, you will, if you want to, you can reflect and then take some actions. When it comes to fear is a big thing for me. So I decided to create a section in one of the chapters called the fear embracing mindset. And I'm going to present another acronym that I created for fear, linking it to tips when we are, or actions or things we can do when communicating in these kind of environments. Well, when it comes to fear, because fear is always part of us. When we go into the unknown, someone we don't know, an audience we don't know, yeah, it's normal that we experience fear. If we're not used to communicating, with certain cultures, yes, it can, increase or ramp up a little bit. So again, every time we face fear, going back, if I break down the acronym, the first one is the F for facing that fear. Imagine I'm nervous and I feel a bit of fear and uncertainty because I'm going to be communicating with all of you today, and you're going to be listening and potentially judging some of the things you're saying. You will agree, you will disagree, right? Perfect. That's me facing that fear, for example. Face it. It's about recognizing it, then embracing it. Hey, I've got this fear about, these people in the audience and Jason, imagine hypothetically, judging me and all of that. Okay, well, let me embrace that fear because it's there. I'm not going to ignore it. Let me embrace it. That's the E, but then the A, I will also act on it. So the embracing is also about understanding that fear. What could be causing this? Why on earth, if I got Angelica, Brian, Derek, my dad is even in the audience. I hadn't realized. Hello, dad, papa, hello. I mean, why? What's triggering these things? That's an opportunity for self-reflection. Fantastic. But then I go and act on it. Okay. No reason in the world I would have missed this session today. And again, it's a hypothetical situation. And then, as always, I like to rethink and reflect. So the acronym for fear and something you can do next time you experience a level of being uncomfortable about something, or you have that fear, or you're nervous, well, face it, embrace it. Once you understand that, act on it every time, and then rethink. How did that go? Could I have done something different? There you have it. Fear embracing mindset. Oh, and before I pass on the mic to you, Jason, on the fear embracing mindset, I strongly believe in repetition. Visualization and repetition, and intentional reminders. And that's why I also incorporated something I call the Global Influence Leader mantras. And the intention with these mantras, which I believe, I may need to double check this, but I believe they come after the fear embracing mindset. And the whole idea is to help the readers with focus and clarity, motivation and encouragement, and self awareness and self regulation. So, apart from having some tips in there in terms of the fear embracing mindset, the acronym, then you have the leader's mantra, which serve as a daily reminder to help those that decide to embark on the global influence journey.
That is super cool. So all these mantras are mentioned in the book, and you said where else can I find it?
Hmm. They're in the book. No, they're in the book. I was just wondering, I wasn't sure whether they came before the fear embracing mindset or after. I mean, I can find that. I've got the book here with me. One sec.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the mantras?
That is super cool. I am gonna. So I'm a very slow reader, guys. So I have not got the opportunity to read Jose's entire book. I just got it yesterday. I had a little issue with my Kindle account, but I'm gonna go through it and I'm gonna be reflecting on this. But I like the acronym. I'm glad you're making acronyms. Fear, facing it, embracing it, acting on it, rethink and reflect. That is super super cool. So we would be opening up the stage for Q&A in about 5 minutes, and I wanted to really, ask you, Jose, if you could share some, maybe real world examples or case studies which have been featured in your book that kind of, exemplifies successful implementation of these strategies which we have discussed prior. That would be really awesome.
Yes. After every chapter, there is one case study after every chapter as well. And they are all very close to my heart, but there's usually one that stands out. And this one is, I call it Matt's case story. And why was this successful? Why did I decide to incorporate it into the mix of case stories of my book? Well, one of them is that fear embracing mindset element. Another one is just that self awareness and that recognition of how we're being perceived and how we're communicating and influencing the people we lead. So, Matt is still a young leader, but a very capable individual. And I was delivering a training session for a couple of days around leadership. And one of the things I noticed is that Matt was an extraordinary communicator. But then the way in which he presented his ideas on occasions and participated presented an energy that was impacting the dynamics in the room. So every time he started to speak, everyone else would go very quiet. And then the participation of the rest of the group started to diminish. And of course, the training was getting started. We're going to be there 2 days together. I mean, what's happening with the energy? I mean, how is this young gentleman impacting all of those dynamics? What's really happening? How can I do to influence it? And as I'm going through all of this process, there's always a bit of fear involved in it. And but definitely I had to do something about it, especially being the trainer in the room. So we went out, all of us, grabbing a coffee, and I had the opportunity to get close to Matt. As I got close to Matt, I realized that, wow, Matt was very tall. He was, I mean, way taller than me. So as I approached him to hopefully give him some feedback, I'm looking up to him and he's looking down to me. It's just like, what up, mate? Oh, Matt, hello, buddy. And I took my time because I wasn't ready and I didn't know exactly what it was that I was sensing in him. So I took my time and I took a breath and I got closer to him and he said, what is it? I've got something to share with you, Matt. I said to him, yeah, what is it? I'm still not sure, but I think I'm sensing a level of arrogance in your interactions in the room. And I just went direct like that. He paused, he looked down to me again, I looked up to him, and he said, yeah, I'm arrogant, my friend. And that's something, my partner has said to me, and some people have said it to me, and I'm okay with it. At that point, I said to him, perfect, okay. I just wanted to convey that to you because it's impacting the interactions in the room. So please be mindful of how you're influencing, the dynamics. And Jason, that day, that was it. I didn't speak about it anymore. He improved a little bit throughout the 2 days, but not major. To my surprise, my friend, and I'll tell you the moral of the story in a second, because it's something that I address in the book as well. To my surprise, 2 weeks later, I was having coaching sessions with each one of the attendees. And when Matt came to the session, I was expecting it going around preconceptions, going back to preconceptions. I was thinking, well, probably Matt is just going to go, Jose, thank you for the training. That's it. Off you go. Nothing else for me. Well, Jason and people down in the audience, to my surprise, Matt said to me, Jose, I want to spend the 90 minutes we've got to explore this arrogance element that you mentioned. Now, how is this relevant? There are different messages in the story. One of them is for me to deal with my fear and communicate my message effectively, being assertive and in the best way I could in order to create the influence and the impact I was looking for, which was for him to recognize this. So why is this important? Well, people, you cannot create impact, but then you need to deal with those fears of being rejected, the fears of messing up, of saying something that the person is going to take the wrong way, because that's all part of communication. But as long as you're operating like my brother Herman, deeply caring for others, you can afford to be direct. And most of the time, the results can be very positive, just like in that story. So I'm linking that to fear, and I'm linking back to being direct, to deeply caring, also to being open and to being candid. So there's a few messages in there, and I speak about those in detail throughout the book.
This is super cool, Jose. I appreciate you sharing that case study. That was a really nice example. I want to actually encourage people in the listening lounge who are listening to us live. If you're interested, please raise your hand. I would like to bring you up. and you can ask questions directly to Jose, maybe about his book, or maybe about global influence as a whole, or communication. Anything you feel you would get benefited from this conversation, I would highly encourage you to do that. And while we are actually waiting for people to actually, raise hand and come up, if they are not okay, Angelica agreed to come up on stage. Lachelle Atkins is also coming up on stage. All right. If anybody else, Brian, Jose, your papa, that is your papa, right?
Yeah, that's my dad.
Okay. If you like to come up, papa, please, do not worry. This is a nice, friendly environment. Show your support and love. And you don't have to necessarily ask a question. You can just say, hi. That's also cool. Leslie, Derek, Norma, Roland. I know, Roland, you just joined the conversation. So if anybody else who's interested, in coming up on stage, please do not hesitate. So let's actually start the Q&A. But you know what? Actually, I want to actually give a sponsor shout out. So give me 2 minutes, guys. Let me just play the sponsor shout out, and we will do this.
Are you a professional speaker who's frustrated because you're not getting paid for the value you deliver? If so, the Get Paid from the Stage program was created for you. During our 6 weeks together, you will build the framework for your speaker business. You'll create an amazing speaker package that event organizers are going to take notice of. And I will walk you through the sweet spot for pricing and many other things that are going to make you referable so that you can earn the high dollar value that I know you're delivering. Be sure to sign up soon. Our next cohort begins March 2nd, and it's limited to no more than 10 people. Send me a note and let me know that you heard about the program from Jason's podcast to get your free 1-hour consultation with me at no extra charge. I can't wait to see you get paid from the stage.
That is Carla Howard. She has been a guest on my show. She's also a speaker, professional speaker, dream enabler, and I love what she does. And her cohort, the 6 weeks getting paid from stage, I think that's starting March 2nd, 2024. She does around, I think, 10 slots, 10 seats every cohort. If you're interested, guys, I have the link mentioned under the description or the event comments. I want to thank Carla for sponsoring the episode. I also want to let you know that when you do refer yourself to this episode, I do make a small commission out of it at no extra cost to you. So let's get into the Q&A. Angelica, thank you so much. I know you are a podcaster yourself. I appreciate you supporting me from the beginning. And thank you so much for listening to our conversation also from the beginning. So do you have a question for Jose, or would you like to contribute to this conversation?
Um, I do have a question, and I wanted to contribute a little bit because, hi, Jose, and hi, Lachelle, and everybody else, and
Hello,
thanks for.
Angelica.
I'm starting from the end here. Thanks for bringing me up, Jason. But I work with a lot of different cultures. At Head Start we have over 100 different languages that are spoken. Okay, so talk about global. But I love it because I love all the different cultures. I love learning um about all the cultures and even some of their a little bit of their languages so that we can. I try to make the families feel at home. So my question is, how do you prepare yourself when you're speaking, when you have a group of people that are different cultures, so to speak? So I'm not sure if that has ever happened to you, but I was just thinking about the global influence. So thank you so much, Jose, for letting me ask that question. And I was hoping that your dad was in the audience still, so I could tell him, "Subate." Back over to you. Yeah.
He's left us. Angelica, thank you so much for that question. How do I prepare? Look, the best example for me is when I do virtual sessions. I have people, when it comes to some of the leadership and communications, I've had people from all over the world joining. And that's where the simpler framework kicks in, because the one thing I do first is to slow down. And not going to repeat the simpler framework again, but I slow down. Slowing down is key for me. And then curiosity, and to see what's happening. What are these people presenting to me? Because one of the things, I mean, it's not just in the book, but one of the things I like to say and convey in terms of human interactions from different cultures is that, we all bring bubbles. Okay, I think of cultures and languages and accents and our beliefs, values, all of that, they're bubbles that we bring to our human interactions. And for me, is to have the ability, by slowing down, by being curious, by asking good questions, by reading the room, is to begin to burst people's bubbles, so I can really get to know who they are. And that's what I'm always asking for. How do I make them, what makes them tick? How can I, make sure they're understanding me? How can I help them improve? How can I help them stretch? So another thing I strongly believe in is that we, as communicators in international environments, we are human explorers. It's always about, going in with that curiosity. What can I learn from this person? What is one thing that will help me communicate more effectively? What is that person really telling me? What is that body language showing? And even in virtual environments where we all get to see just, their faces, and sometimes just hear them, still slowing down, curiosity, bursting the bubble so that the real human being emerges. That would be my preparation, and thinking on my feet all the time, always thinking on my feet. That's why preconceptions and that multicultural lens is so important, because then they help me be in the moment.
Thank you so much, Jose. I just want to, when you said slowing down, I'm just going to be brief. You made me think of a friend of mine. His name is John, and he's from Congo. And we were visiting a friend of his, and when we got to the door, they were taking a long time to answer the door. I think it must have been like 5 minutes that we were standing outside. And I was like, with my American culture, I was like, let's go. And you know what I learned from him? He said, well, maybe they're getting ready. And I just saw the patience and the I learned from him, we are such a rush culture. We got to take it slow. And it was a beautiful interaction, because that's something that our culture is a fast culture. So, but I learned from him, be patient and take your time. So thank you for letting me speak, and thank you for letting me ask that question, and what a wonderful answer, Jose. Back over to you, Jason.
Well, thank you. If you do have a follow up question or anything else you like to ask, you're welcome to do so. Angelica, before we move on to Lachelle, do you have a follow up question, Angelica?
No, I think we'll let Lachelle go ahead. Thanks so much, Jason.
Awesome, awesome. Please continue to be on stage, because I think I have this group activity which we do in the next few minutes. So, Lachelle Atkins, thank you so much once again for being here. Do you have a question, or do you have an acronym, or would you like to contribute to today's conversation?
Thank you so much, Jason, and I appreciate you sharing my love for acronyms. I think that's one of the ways that I keep it straight. I've enjoyed this conversation, and I love the approach about fear. I think fear is something that we all struggle with, as you mentioned before, and I do have an acronym for fear. Mine is about focusing on what really is important. So that's the F, is to focus. A lot of times when we have fear, we're all over the place. What are people thinking? And, you just can go on this tangent. But if you start to focus, that's the first step to be able to calm yourself. The next thing is to educate yourself about what's real and not, when what's not real, because when we have this fear, we kind of run away with unrealistic things. We haven't talked to anybody, we haven't engaged, it's all in our head. So when we educate ourselves to figure out, is this really an opinion that I'm having, or is it truly factual? And then the next thing is taking action. So I love the thing that you said about act on it. I feel action is so important because, when we get to being in paralysis, we won't do anything. And I listened to Leslie, who was on this app, and she said that fear can last for about 90 seconds. So if you're able to take action before that 90 seconds is over, you're more than likely going to keep on and you're going to continue. It's not going to stop you and paralyze you. And then the last letter for me is results. So looking at what you've done and how it worked out, so that you can know how to move forward. So I love that. I think fear is something that we face on a regular basis. And one of the ways to be successful is having an action plan for it, because having a pie in the sky mindset that nothing's going to make us afraid and we're always going to be able to take action. That's a real quick pathway to failure because you can easily get overwhelmed in a moment's notice. So I appreciate everything that you've shared and I look forward to getting a copy of your book. So thanks so much for having me, and it's a pleasure to meet you, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Michelle. I appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for that lovely contribution which you had. Like I said, Jose, she always comes with acronym. At least there was some closeness, some sort of similarity between fear. So, anyways,
Loved it. I loved it. Thank you so much. Yes, nothing like acronyms.
So let's do this rapid fire thing, okay? And so I have this one common question which I think is very interesting. Again, I found this on Instagram. I want to give credit where it's due. And I have some other questions which I want to specifically ask Jose. So I'm going to start off with the ones which I like to ask Jose. Okay, and then towards the end we will ask that common question to everyone. So Lachelle and Angelica, please continue to be on stage. It would not take long. And if anybody else who wants to be just a part of this fun activity, you're welcome to come up, just to have fun. So my first question is that if you could have dinner with any book author, dead or alive, Jose, whom would you whom see language, whom would it be
Language.
and why?
Look, well, based on the conversation we're having today, I would have dinner with Dale Carnegie. And why? Because it's just amazing how his content is so relevant today after so many decades since he wrote them. So yeah, making friends. Well, I forgot the name now. Making friends and influencing people.
Yeah. Which book are you referring to by Dale Carnegie? Anything
Well,
specific?
I'm
How to
especially
win friends and influence
that's
people.
the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lachelle. Yes, how to make friends and influence people.
How to win
How to win
friends
friends.
and
Yeah.
influence people. Okay. I'm gonna write that down. Thank you so much for sharing that. I hope it happens, or at least you find somebody close to Dale in the long run, and you can have dinner with. That would be super cool. All right. Next question for you: if your life story turned into a biopic, like a movie, who would you want to play your role in that film? Like, which actor do you think would be ideal?
You know what? That makes me think of Sylvester Stallone when he first wrote Rocky, and he went out and presented, and they were saying that he couldn't perform, the boxer. So I would say to you, it would be me for my life story. It would be me, my friend, just like Sylvester Stallone for Rocky.
That is awesome. It would be good to see you. It would be very nice to see you. All right. Next question. Now, let's say that you had like this visitor encounter. Okay, now let's say that aliens exist or whatever. If aliens were to visit Earth, and let's say that they decided to come to UK, and meet you, and you were the first person they met, what is the first thing you would say to them?
I would say to them, this is what I would say to them. I mean, they're landing in there, and I first see them, and if I'm sticking to my principles in global influence, I would go, "Hola, hello," very excited. That's what I would say to them. I would go with a big "Hola, welcome," very open.
I would ask them, would you like to be a guest on my show? Have some
Well,
slot.
that would be good as well.
I'll interview the fuck out of them. Okay, I see that your brother has joined the conversation. So, Herman, I was pronouncing the G as German, like how we pronounce in English German,
Mm.
but I realized that okay, it's pronounced Herman Ucar. So Herman, we were speaking about you. Shout out to you. You're such an amazing guy. Jose said a lot of fabulous things about you and how you're the person, behind the screens, but the most caring and the most inspiration for Jose. So I want to thank you personally for doing what you're doing, because I see what happens in the background, at least, when I go through your profile, Jose, and the stuff which you put out. So it's a very hardworking individual, both of you guys, So shout out to your brother. Shout out to the amazing work and his clients and the things which he does, Love you both, actually. My next question to you, Jose, would be the closest celebrity you look alike. And I had used this app which kind of gives you the closest. If you go through the comment, guys, the event comments, I've listed down around 5 to 6 people who kind of look like Jose Ucar. Now, based on that list, Jose, whom do you think the closest would be? Like, who do you think you look the closest to?
Jason, I need to find. Hold on a second. I think you sent that to me. One sec,
Yeah, I can send you a
because
picture right now. Would you like me to send it to you? Let me send you the picture. And guys,
yeah, send me
if
that
you are
picture.
actually seeing this, you should be able to find it under the event comments. So I think there's this app which lets you actually pick up, find celebrities look-alike. I think that's what it is called as. I'll highly encourage you guys to put your picture and see which celebrity looks like you, just for the fun. Okay, so I don't know if
I
you.
I think I think it will be Will Wheaton from, well, the Big Bang Theory, the one that
Ah.
did Star Wars as well. I think that's the one that's coming to mind based on what I'm seeing now.
Yeah, I can say, why did you choose him? First of all, he's wearing blue, the blue shirt, and the face and the smile kind of looks like yours. So, yeah. So that was a neat choice. Good one. Good one, Jose. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, all right, all right. So I have this common question which I want to ask everyone on stage, and we will start with Angelica first. So the question is, who are you uninterrupted? If nothing stood in your way to achieve success, what would you do, or what would you build?
That's a loaded question because I'm the queen of the different niches. Oh well, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna put all of those answers that you said, all the questions together, because because all of that is relevant to me. You said if there was a book, an author that wrote a book that I'd like to have dinner with, that would be Einstein, because he's one of the crazies that has changed the world. And if I could play an actor in a movie, I was thinking of Pam Grier. She's a black actress. She's tough, and I've heard that working with Tarantino is like it's an experience. So I work in film as well, Herman. I see Herman clapping. We can relate. So that's one of the things that I would like to do, so that I could be around that vibe. And if aliens visited the Earth, I'd say live long and prosper, and I'd put up my Star Trek live long and prosper sign. so 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 in regards to who I am, I'm a person that loves people, international, and like Jose, I believe in helping people move forward and helping them accomplish their goals, just like you, Jason. And I think podcasting is one of the ways that we do it, because we let people know about these people that need to be out there and share what they're doing to make this world a better place. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
thank
love
you.
that. I appreciate that answer very, very much. I want to actually hear what Lachelle has to say. So, who are you uninterrupted? And if nothing stood in your way to achieve success, what would you do or what would you build?
Love the question. You know, for me, uninterrupted, I am just a chaos crusher. I think it's a gift that I learned the hard way, to be able to know what I can and can't control, and to navigate through adversity. I think for me, chaos is the norm, and I think that's the way for many people. But we have this mindset that all is well. We dream, and I think that's important. But we're never really equipped to be successful because we think that it should come without an obstacle. So when you learn to flip that around and embrace the chaos, then peace is what you practice every day, and you're able to maintain better self control. So, with that skill, I
It,
think
it
it,
would. I mean, you nailed it. Chaos crusher. I think you should have it on your
yeah,
bio now.
love that. So, yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love that answer. So, Jose, I have given you enough time to think about a good answer for this specific question. So, who are you uninterrupted, Jose? Who are you uninterrupted? If nothing stood in your way to achieve success, happiness, whatever you want to call it, what would you do? What would you build?
Look, brother, you gave me more time, but still my answer is going to be the same because that uninterrupted doesn't exist. So, I would be the same person because life, I think, is just linking it to embracing chaos, like Lachelle said. Life is interrupted. So it is about learning to live with interruptions and make the most of it and always improve, always develop, always stretch yourself. I'll be the same.
That is amazing, Jose. I like to be myself. and
I'll be me.
that is
I'll
that is
carry on doing what I'm doing and I will probably write another book.
okay. I remember, when I was going through your bio, and I'm talking about back in season 3, like, I think around a year back or something. I remember, you had mentioned a quote by, I think, by Winston Churchill. I think it's about this courage. Okay, let me just go through it. Okay, so I think it is courage is what takes courage is what takes to stand up, speak, and courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. I know this quote has a very profound meaning in your life. Would you mind giving our listeners a little heads up on why you like this quote so much?
Brother, again, it is about slowing down your thinking and being there for the other person. Think about this for a moment. If we all gave ourselves the opportunity to do just that, sit down and listen, how different would our human interactions be? How greater would our impact be? How greater our influence be? It is powerful. You sit down and listen because the tendency is that we want to speak. The tendency is that we experience fear and then we communicate from, a fear standpoint instead of just being comfortable in your own skin, enjoying your your less vanilla or your avocado flavor and just be you. Sit down and listen. Enjoy it. And I also relate this to enjoying the silence as well. How powerful is that?
That is amazing. That is super super cool. And I appreciate you sharing that. At least I understand that everything has and is related to global influence. So that is super cool. I wanted to give you the opportunity to share a last few words. If you could leave our listeners, Jose, with one thing they can take away from this conversation, what would that be? Apart from slowing down, because I think we have you have mentioned that a couple of times. So apart from slowing down, what else?
Look, I'm going to leave the audience hopefully with three things. One, which is to become intentional in terms of what you want. And when you become intentional, then you go and take action, which is very important. And Lachelle mentioned that as well. The second one, which you can connect it with that intention, leave people better off after you interact with them. Make that your day to day. Leave people better off. And finally, embrace fear and uncertainty. Dare to fail more often. That would be my message, my friend.
That is super cool. I'm just writing it down. Alright, this is super cool. Okay, be intentional with your actions. Leave people better off. That means leave them with a good experience. That's what you mean, right? Uh
Well, yeah, exactly. You're always leaving an impression on people.
huh.
I mean, it's just the feeling I'm leaving this call with. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling inspired, motivated, happy. So that's what I want for everyone else.
Yeah, and the last one you just said is embrace fear and uncertainty, because that's always gonna be there no matter what you do. It's always gonna linger around. So I really really enjoyed this conversation we had. I'm so glad that we started off with you with your interview, and I'm this is such an excellent book based on the overview which you have given us. I'm gonna be reading the whole thing, and if I don't like it, Jose, I will get back to you and I'll tell you, Jose, no, I didn't like this part. Um,
Absolutely, my friend. Feedback, feedback. That's how we learn. That's how we learn.
Absolutely, but overall, I've been seeing a lot of positive reviews from people. They definitely dig the book. I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I feel that I've reached a point, I feel, Jose, that I have stopped actually trying to please everyone. It's better just to do things which makes you happy. And if writing a book and selling it, and educating people on a certain subject, if that what makes you happy, please do that. If it's cooking, if it's something else, do whatever you feel which makes you happy. I think that's the best way to go, because the moment you start, or stop, actually not start but stop pleasing others, I think you start discovering a very unique version of yourself in the process. So I would highly encourage people to do that. I want to quickly give you guys a heads up on our next week's show. I'm going to be doing the disruption mindset with Charlene Lee. She's New York Times best-selling author, speaker, advisor, and leadership coach. Very amazing individual. I have the event details under my profile. If you look at the featured section on LinkedIn, you should be able to find it. So I would highly encourage people to tune into it. We will have an audio and a video stream. It's gonna happen on LinkedIn as well as on YouTube. So this will be an exclusive show. And Jose, your website, I think it is Jose JOSEUCAR.com. If they want to know about the book, or if they want to professionally work with you, that would be the website to go to, right?
That's the one, my friend. Nice and easy. JoseUcar.com.
Yeah. I have to really say, guys, I have actually seen, I mean, I've been working in design for such a long time. Jose's website is one of the most cleanest and simple website I have ever seen by somebody who is into the speaking profession, at least. I've seen very unorganized, unpleasant website, but Jose's is the most cleanest. I like the way how he has structured, like the way how he uses type. It's pure joy. pure joy. Whoever has designed it, Jose, shout out to those individuals. It's very
less,
clean.
hopefully it is less vanilla, brother.
It is less vanilla. So shout out to that, and I want to thank you, Jose, once again for making the first episode a success. See you guys next week, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If any of you guys are interested in being a guest, no formalities, no followers required. You just have to be a good human being and somebody who can work structurally. I should be able to have you on my show without any hiccups. So thank you once again. Please take care of yourself. Have a lovely morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're in the world. Please take care.
The power to take you somewhere. It fills the